Pat Narduzzi and company take a step back in 2017. Mark Rogers TV running through all the schedules in college football. So we've ranked them 68 all the way up to number 1. Check out that series. And now we're running through all the games and predicting all the results. So in the past, we have predicted the results in regards to records for each team in each conference and predicted the college football playoff. Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, Washington last year. Hopefully we hit 4-on-4 this year. Now we are going to go through the individual results. So what we've got here as we march through the ACC Coastal Division is we come to the Pitt Panthers. All right, we know that Pitt was an 8-5 team last year, but also pulled off 2 of the bigger upsets in college football and 2 of the more impressive wins in the nation in defeating Clemson on the road and winning a game in Heinz Field against Penn State before we knew that the Nittany Lions would be good enough to be Big Ten champions. This year, Pitt doesn't fare so well against the big boys. 98% probability of defeating Youngstown State at home, and they win it. So notice that not every time does the probability turn into a victory because there are upsets in college football. So I've got the probability of the win, but not necessarily pulling through each and every time. Penn State on the road for Pitt this year, 25% chance of winning. Panthers can't do it 2 years ago a row against Penn State. They lose that one. And then the next week in Heinz Field against Oklahoma State, a team that they lost to just by a touchdown in Stillwater last year. They fall to the Cowboys, but with a 40% chance of winning that one. Georgia Tech, that's a road game in Atlanta, 40% chance of that happening for the Panthers, and they lose this time to Georgia Tech. They come back to even their record at 3-3 with wins against Rice and Syracuse. Then they've got a difficult game at home against NC State. The Wolfpack win this one, although I do give Pitt a decent chance of pulling out that game at 45%. NC State gets the win. And then, toss-up game on the road at Duke. Things go the wrong way for Pitt right here, and this is pretty much the demise of any chance of getting to postseason play and losing to Duke at home, or that's a road game against the Blue Devils, and that drops Pitt down to another loss in the ACC. They rebound against Virginia, have to win that game at home against the worst team, most likely in the ACC. They've got North Carolina at home, and I believe that despite with a 60% probability of winning that game, North Carolina pulls off the upset at Heinz Field. Virginia Tech, Miami, a tough way to close it out. They lose to Virginia Tech, pull off an improbable win. Yes, I do believe that Miami is the class of the ACC Coastal Division. We will, of course, run down the Hurricanes' 12 games in a future video, but I believe that Miami or Pitt is going to pull off the upset against the Hurricanes at home. So Pitt finishes at 5-7. They go 3-5. In conference play. So for the first time in many years, the Pitt Panthers don't reach postseason play with just the 5 wins. I also want to make a disclaimer here. If Miami turns out to be one of the best teams in the country and Pitt goes on this type of run where they win 5 or 6 games, that may not necessarily be my prediction when the game comes in November. I am trying to project some outlandish, at times, upset, because there's going to happen in college football. Not everything's going to run according to chalk. There are going to be upsets, so I'm going out on a limb at times to try to find those upsets. For the Pitt Panthers, it's a final game victory against Miami, but not enough to reach postseason play at 5-7, 3-5 in the ACC. Would like to hear from you now on Mark Rogers TV.